episode of the HOP Nerd Podcast. I am your host, Sam Goodman, the HOP Nerd LLC. Make sure you head over to the website, www.thehopnerd.com, for fundamentals, learning teams, support, and so much more. Send us an email, thehopnerd@gmail.com, and be sure to follow along with us on all things social media at The Hop Nerd or at Sam Goodman. Welcome to today's episode. So happy to have you with us for another episode of the HOP Nerd Podcast. How are things going in your neck of the woods? I hope that they are going absolutely awesome. Things are wild and crazy and fun, and you know how things are going in my neck of the woods. Running around like crazy, sitting on planes, helping people with human and organizational performance, helping organizations with deep and meaningful operational learning, with learning from those that GSD, those that get shit done within our work worlds. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, kind of in the spirit. If you don't know, now you're going to know. We recently released Starting Points, Operationally Curious Questions, and it's a deck of cards, and it's icebreaker cards. They're awesome. They're awesome. I've been getting a ton of amazing feedback from you folks out there, putting these things to use, hearing your stories of how you're using these to begin to kind of kick off, to break the ice, if you will, these operationally curious conversations, these learning-based conversations. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about on today's episode, is this idea of seeking to understand through operationally curious questions. I've put out several posts on this through LinkedIn. It's available over on the website at thehopnerd.com. There's some guides that we've put together out there, and go check those out if you need a little bit of a hand, if you don't want to use your pen and paper here to scribble out some notes, or if you're driving and you can't, make sure that you head over to thehopnerd.com and check out the resources section on the website. You can download all this stuff for completely free. You can also sign up for our mailing list there if you want to get these resources right in your email inbox, which is kind of cool because we're always adding to and tweaking stuff, and you would get to see when all that new stuff is made available. So let's just jump right into it. And I want to start with some kind of key ideas here around extreme operational curiosity. And we usually define that as this strong desire to learn deliberately and frequently the lived operational reality faced by those that GSD, those that get shit done. This strong desire to seek to understand, like, the real world, how shit actually gets done, how things actually happen within our work world. We have to start with that deep sense of extreme operational curiosity. We have to seek to understand the story of normal work, not how we think work happens, not how the procedure says work happens, not how we envision in our minds like these perfect world scenarios of kind of how work happens, but the actual story, the real story, the reality of how normal work actually happens. We have to seek to understand that organizationally so we can make better operational decisions, with the key point here being that the people that do the work, yeah, those folks best understand the work. So if we want to talk about kind of growing this sense of operational curiosity, whether for ourselves or within our organizations, I think the first kind of piece of advice that I need to drop in here is that we need to slow down a bit, and we need to give ourselves and others time and space to explore and be curious. It's so often when I spend time with frontline leaders, and I am very convinced, very convinced, and not to diminish from anyone else's role out there, but I'm very convinced, because I've seen it time and time again, that frontline leaders have one of the toughest jobs in any organization. And we like to give them lots of extra stuff to do. Like anytime we have that new initiative, anytime that something needs to get fixed, anytime that there's a problem, anytime that there's anything, yep, it usually lands right on their plate. So I get a lot of those questions from those farther up in the organization say, well, how do we make our leaders more curious? And I don't think it's that they're not curious. I think it's that they don't have the time to be all that curious. We don't slow down. We don't give them the time and space to be curious and explore, right? It's one of the things that kind of falls off the plate. If you give me those 25 go-dos that I have to go do every single day as a frontline leader, and those 25 go-dos impact my performance review at the end of the year, impacts my raises, or gets me in trouble, yeah, the other stuff, I'm going to go wander around and just spend time with folks and get to know them, that's going to fall off the plate. So we have to slow down, give ourselves, give others that time and space to be curious and explore. We can then begin to really focus on asking better questions. And that's what we focus on in Starting Points, operationally curious questions. If you're interested in those, if you think that would be a valuable tool for yourself or your organization, you can head over to the website. It's thehopnerd.com. You click on the shop. You'll see them right at the top. You can go and check those out. Happy to chat with anybody about those as well. I've got a ton of questions about those. We offer them in English, German, Portuguese, Spanish, Tagalog. We're offering them in like all kinds of languages. Arabic. We're working currently on Hindi and French, so those are available there. But that's exactly the point of those cards, is kind of starting with a bit of a better question or questions, right? These kind of icebreaker questions. And so often for me, they kind of start with this idea of, can you teach me, right? Can you show me? Those kind of really curious questions, right? So can you teach me? What are we really good at? What's more challenging than it should be? How are things going with, and on and on and on. And we'll come back, and I'm going to share with you some of my most favorite operationally curious questions here towards the end of the podcast. But back to kind of setting the stage for this, I think the most vital bit of all of this, we're slowing down. We're seeking to ask better questions. We're seeking to understand through better questions. I think the most vital piece of all of this is focusing on listening to learn, learning to learn, rather than listening and learning to fix or respond. So listen to learn to learn, right? If you listen to learn, and you're genuinely curious, you're genuinely just trying to learn, these air quotes here, better questions, they will naturally begin to emerge, right? You think about conversations in your normal everyday life. You don't need a list of questions, right? You're usually just genuinely curious. You genuinely want to get to know the other person. You don't have to go, hold on, let me go to my list of questions here. Can you teach me? You just don't have to do that, right? So just think about it more in the sense of your normal everyday life. In work, we like to pretend that the stuff that works outside of work for some reason doesn't work at work. We feel like we have to do things all wacky and differently, but not so much, right? Focus on just listening to learn, learning to learn, and those natural and kind of better questions will naturally begin to emerge. So the kind of whole to do here is be curious, seek to understand, go out and learn deliberately and often from those that GSD, those that get shit done. Start, from a place of trust and seeking to understand through better, more operationally curious questions. Listen to learn to learn. If you've read 10 Ideas to Make Safety Suck Less, all of this should be starting to sound eerily familiar. And if you haven't checked out that book, make sure you go check it out on Amazon or Audible, narrated by yours truly. So kind of back to this idea of better starting points, better questions, some stuff here that you might be able to go out and try on for size. I like asking, what are we really good at? What are we great at? Where are things more challenging than they should be? I like to ask the old classic, what should we start doing? Like, what should we stop doing? Like right now, what should we start doing? What should we stop doing? How are things going with insert something here, with insert something here? What are we missing? We started doing insert something here. How's that working for you? It seems like we're really great at insert something here. Why do you think that is? We've gone through a lot of change lately with insert something here. We've gone through a lot of change lately on our human and organizational performance journey. How has your experience been with that? Can you teach me about your experiences with insert something here and on? Ask things like, what's harder than it should be? What's the toughest part of your daily job? This one gets a lot of slack. You get on the internet and everybody likes to throw stones. Some people don't like the dumb word, but I really like it. What's the dumbest thing that you have to do working here? What's the dumbest thing that we make you do to have to keep working here? People will always have really, really, really great answers for you. I like asking things like, where is it really easy to make a mistake? Where is it really easy to get hurt? Where is it really easy to mess up? Where are we nearing failure? You can just flat out throw out questions like, where do you think our systems are most brittle? Where do you feel that our next serious event's going to happen? Where do you think our next quality issue is going to be? And on and on and on and on. You get the point. The whole idea here is that we're seeking to tap into that IRL, that in real life, lived reality, that lived operational reality, that story of normal work. The good, the bad, the ugly, as we like to say, with warts and all, like all of it, like the good stuff, the great stuff, the horrible stuff, the stuff that is going to scare the absolute shit out of us. We want to tap into all of it because we need all of that information to work together to make better operational decisions. We're seeking to get that gift of operational reality, and it is a gift, even though sometimes it feels like it's not. I super duper promise you, it is 100% a gift. This good, bad, ugly, and a lot of times scary information about how work normally gets done. I would love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite operationally curious questions? Head over to the website, www.thehopnerd.com, and get into contact. You can send me an email, thehopnerd@gmail.com. And again, check out Starting Point's operationally curious questions. We've got a ton of amazing feedback from folks out there already putting these things to use. We just launched them a couple weeks back. And if you have ideas for questions that you would like to see included in future decks, in future expansion packs for these cards, you can actually go over to the website in the shop, click on that, scroll all the way down, and you'll see a box where you can actually submit your very own ideas, and they might just make it into the deck. So super duper cool if you need a place to start. Just remember, be curious, right? Be super duper curious, extremely curious. Start from a place of trust and seek to understand the reality faced by those that actually GSD, those that get shit done within your organization. Thanks for listening, everybody. We greatly appreciate all of your support of the Hop Nerd Podcast, the HOP Nerd LLC. If you need a little bit of help bringing human and organizational performance to life, if you would like to take your efforts around learning and improving to the next level, yep, I can help with that. Head over to www.thehopnerd.com or send me an email, thehopnerd@gmail.com. Until next time, bye, everybody. Bye.